Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 0 to 60. So on today's episode, I want to try and customize my half customized dash cluster. Hopefully you've seen it. I'll put a link to the video up in the corner. But a few weeks ago, in fact, it's probably a few months ago, I changed the fascia panels on my dash cluster to the IS style. I got these on eBay Europe. I can't even remember which country they were on, but they were advertised over in Europe, and it's to convert your normal dash cluster to an IS style. And since I was doing the DCT conversion, I thought, why not be one of those people that pretends to have a car they don't have and go for IS specs? So that's what I did. Now, this was also brought on because I used to want an M3 cluster. However, group member or 0 to 60 group member Ben, I'm going to put a link to his YouTube channel and it's going to be in the top comment. Go and check his stuff out. He has the coolest looking cluster I've ever seen. He has a genuine IS, but he's gone for white LEDs and then blue as well, and it just looks awesome. And that's kind of what I want to try and replicate. I'm going to copy a 0 to 60 member. Sorry, Ben. But yeah, please go and check his channel out. But I'll show you what we're dealing with at the moment. So all I've done with this cluster is change it to the IS fascias. So I've still got the original, if I power the car on, amber lights. And that's what I want to change to white. Now, what I ended up doing, when I got that Carly dongle a couple of weeks ago, I actually switched the dashboard lights to be on all the time. So even if I turn the lights off there, battery's going flat again. Whenever I power the car up, I have my backlights on. Now, the reason I've done that really initially was to help with filming. But with these silver dials, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but they are actually quite reflective. And on a sunny day here in lovely Queensland, if the light's hitting the cluster the right way, it is hard to see the numbers. So with the lights on, with that backlight on, they're actually easier to see. In fact, I can't actually, well, I can turn the key off. Yeah, you can sort of see there. The GoPro does sort of pick it up a bit. But the numbers are definitely easier to read when they're lit up. So I'm hoping with the white LEDs on all the time, it should look quite nice, look a lot like a Benz, and it should be a little bit easier to see in bright sunlight. Now, there's a few things we need to talk about, which I will talk about when I got the cluster apart, but even Ben said he had some issues with the LEDs he used, so I'm hoping these cheap ones that I've bought from China are gonna do the job. Guys, I'm gonna get this cluster out and you'll see me on the bench once we're taking it apart. So here we have the circuit board removed from the cluster. I guess it's the main, you could call it the main board. Pretty easy to take apart. Let me know if you've got any questions on how to pull them apart if you've never done it before. Now they have quite a few LEDs, which hopefully you can see here. We have basically all these ones up the top. These are like your, I think, indicators, engine warning lights, OBD light, all the little warnings that can pop up on a E9 cluster. There are some super small ones down here. These ones here, I think, are used for radar cruise control, something that I've never used, but actually I'll just talk about it as well. Now, a lot of guys do change these lower ones down here. Hopefully we're not getting too much reflection. Now, these are a single color LED, and I could change those to white today, but in the interest of seeing how it looks, I'm gonna do it in stages. The ones I'm actually gonna focus on are the 4 around that'll be the tacho, and the 4 around the speedo, and then there's 2 on each side of the fuel gauge, and also on the side of the oil temperature gauge. So it's only 4, 8, 10, 12 LEDs that we're gonna be doing today, and these are the replacement LEDs right here. And they have a yellow lens on them. They're supposed to be a white LED. I hope they're the right color. But man, it is small. That's it next to my finger. My nice dirty mechanic finger. Yeah, and hopefully it's coming up on the camera okay, but that little cut off on the corner, that is how you identify which way round the LEDs need to go. And the ones that are actually on the circuit board, hopefully it's gonna focus, you can see they have the cutoff as well. So to keep things simple, I'm only gonna change one LED at a time, and what I might do, I'll probably work on this one first. We'll change the LED, then I'll plug it in the car, and we'll see if it's the right color, because I've got a feeling it might be too bright. All right, time to get soldering. So I need to thank Glenn for sending us this soldering iron. First time I've had one with an actual soldering station. Now I am just gonna put a little bit of solder on the tip of the iron and then clean it off, and it's just with the hope or the intention that it helps getting the solder on here flowing. Now I'm gonna apply a little bit of upwards pressure. Oh, we'll try to anyway. So it's all sort of gone a bit messy. It was much harder to get it to come up than I thought. Oh, there it is finally. In fact, that's weird. It didn't even desolder that one. Wow, that's kind of annoying. It broke the LED. All right, we might have some trouble here, gentlemen. Yeah, that's amazing. So this is quite hard to solder. All right, guess who doesn't know how to solder properly? Okay, that actually got the pad from the LED up. And the other one is also done, but my gosh, what a mess. All right, let's try and clean up that pad a little bit at the back. Okay, pads look fine. Try and put the new one on, and it needs to go that way round. Oh, this is fiddly. This is fiddly. I just add a little bit of solder to the circuit board. God, Parkinson's in full swing. Probably miles too much, but we'll just see how we go. All right, that was easier. Okay, apart from just touching that cap with the tip, that one has gone on. All right, I think we'll go and run it in the car and we'll see how bright that LED is. Okay, so we've got the dash plugged in and we'll see if it's much brighter. It's not too bad. In fact, I'd say that brightness is about on point. We can see it is a white. Oh, that's awesome. I was worried the white was gonna be super bright compared to the orange. I think, it's always a bit difficult with the phone. Try and get it to focus on it. Yeah, I reckon we're going to be good. All right, let's get the other 11 swapped over. Okay, now I've done a few of them. In fact, I might put this at the start of the video. We'll see how it plays out, but I've worked out a bit of a system to remove the LEDs without too much hassle. If anyone is a professional solderer that's better at this than me, please let me know. I'm terrible at soldering, but we're getting there, and I think we're gonna have pretty good, no issues with anything. The way I'm being able to remove them, I add a little bit of solder to the LEDs while they're in place. Now, a mate of mine taught me that trick, and he said it's just to help get the old solder that's been sitting there for 10, 15 years flowing again. So we've added solder to that joint. Now I will remove it with a solder sucker. So that will get flowing again, and then remove. I'll just do it again. I'll do the other side. Fair bit on this side. Can't quite get the right angle on the solder sucker here. Let's try it there. Okay, so we try and suck away all that new solder that we put on. Then just apply heat to one side and try and lift it up. Okay, that side's not working, so I'll try this side. There we go. Once I got one side up, the tweezers I'm using are pretty rubbish, but we'll grab onto the LED with a pair of needle nose pliers and then heat up the other side. Try to heat up the other side. There we go. That's the cleanest and quickest way I've been able to remove the old ones. Then I'll just melt this solder that's left down. See, there's not much solder on that other pad, so I'm gonna add a little bit of solder. We cleaned off a little bit too much on the other side. But basically, I just wanna make sure there's a good amount of solder for the new LED to stick to, but not too much. Like that, and we'll add a bit more on this side. Now, I found that, again, I'm not a professional, don't take this as gospel, but what I need to do is basically have an even amount of solder to lay the new LED down onto. If I have too much on one side, the LED won't sit flat. The other thing I've been doing, you can see that is the corner cut off the LED here. So this pad here, this large pad needs the corner of the LED going to that. And that way we know we'll get the polarity right. Oh, they're so small. Pick up the LED. And then the solder that's there will just melt down again. Starts to grab the LED. LED is in place. And we'll do the other side. Okay, what I'm gonna do, because it's not joining nicely, we'll just use another bit. Cool, that's a nice connection. And just to be safe, I'm just gonna add a little bit more to this side because we wanna make sure it's definitely flowed. Yeah, we're good. Okay, I think that is the worst one I've done. All right, what a mess. All the other ones are perfect, trust me. Anyway, I'm gonna go back to time lapse and do the last one. All right, guys, so that is them all done. Apart from the bit of a mess up, trying to actually show you how I did the soldering, it's not too bad. Getting them to break off was the hardest thing. Once I worked out a bit of a system on that, it wasn't too bad. These LEDs, the old ones, they'd actually be completely usable if I was that way inclined. But yeah, they are done. That is a close-up of the soldering. You can see the flux that sort of ran out. I don't think it's gonna be a problem. And just because I've got that much confidence, I'm not even gonna check it. Let me get it put back together, we'll go chuck it in the car, and we'll see if they're too bright, if they're too dull, or if it works. Fingers crossed, because I don't want to ruin this cluster. But hey, I've done worse things. Right, let me get it put back together. Alright guys, it's back in place. I'm sort of nervous. I hope they've all worked, and I'm curious. Oh, we'll see. Alright, let's just power it on. That's it, they're white. I'm gonna need to get a picture of this at night time, but they don't look too bright, which I was kind of worried about. Oh, nice. And I'll turn them off. Just perfect. You can just see them easier. Awesome. All right. I thought I'd try with the iPhone because it would give a better comparison. You can see on the tacho there how this silver gets sort of washed out in certain daylight. Let's power it on. Yes, that makes it a lot easier to see. I do wonder if the GoPro is, not the GoPro, the iPhone's messing with the colors a bit. It does look whiter to me, to my actual eye than what the phone is showing up. But at least now it looks the right color to the eye, and in bright light you can still see the whole tacho all the time instead of that sort of orange color. It's funny how it still looks orangey. What is the iPhone doing? Anyway, I might take a photo. Well, I think I'm going to call it there. It's probably better going this way. Yeah, it sort of shows the color. I think all the angle of the LEDs is all good. And I will flash up those pictures that I just took with the phone. I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, Ben, the gentleman that sort of inspired this modification, he did say the LEDs that were in his were way too bright. These are definitely not too bright. They do still dim when I turn the lights on. What I'll do is, like for daytime use, they're fine. They show me the numbers more clear than if they're not there. Like that's what I would have had before with the silver, and this is what I have with the silver. So I can see the numbers easier. It helps that way. But I will add a photo to Instagram of this at night time. So I'll go and edit this now. It should be dark in about an hour and a half. So I will upload a photo of the dash in full darkness so you can see how bright it is, because that's the issue. You don't want it to be too bright at night time. But I do want some opinions. So I didn't change the color of the central display, and I know a lot of people do. Now I could have changed it to, I think if I add white LEDs in there, these end up looking a little bit like a blue tinge. But I kind of think it works like that. The other thing I haven't messed with is the color of the needles. I've still got white needles, and I kind of like it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I should change the color of the needles, or if I should change the color of this central display. I'm gonna leave it off there. Start buttons are available at 0to60.com. If someone could buy like 100,000 of them, that'd be great. And oh, really, it's going to be so expensive. Guys, thank you very much for watching. If you got any questions about how to do this to your gauge, let me know. Battery's going flat. Better turn it off. I will put a link to the LEDs that I've used in the description below, and I can sort of confirm that they work, and they are about as bright as the factory amber ones, even though they're white, which I think is probably the right thing to do. Thank you very much for watching. Catch you tomorrow. Peace. All right, it's pretty dark now. Let's have a look, see what these clusters look like at night time. Oh. Whoa. Okay, it's quite bright. Is it too bright? Actually, it will dim when I turn the... Guys, I reckon it's perfect. The LED brightness is perfect. Awesome. Win!